by fans of high-quality entertainment. So this is a review, sort of, on Billy Corgan. He's got this YouTube channel called The Magnificent Others with Billy Corgan. And I'll show you, he's interviewed quite a few people here. The latest is Micky Dolenz, which I want to talk about. Gavin Rosdale, Paul Stanley of Kiss. That was a two-part interview, and it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. Not that I'm a big Kiss fan. Robbie Krieger from The Doors, Zach Wilde, The Brady Bunch. Yeah, Susan Olsen. Carney Wilson, Carrot Top. So, just in case you're not aware of this channel and you like, interviews of some different mainly rock musicians, it's interesting for the most part. Corey Feldman, Pat Benatar. So anyway, getting back to Micky Dolenz. I just watched this yesterday, and like I said, I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. I've been a fan of the Monkees for 60 years. I'm old. And what I have of theirs on CD, I have this 2 CD compilation, which is excellent. They had a few hit singles. And they also have this, the original album series. They have a lot of these for different bands. And it's a pretty inexpensive way to get 5 albums from, a band that you like. And I think you can still get this for like $20, $25. So it's the first 5 Monkees albums. And what's really cool about this is there are a lot of bonus tracks. And just, nothing too fancy, just there's no gatefolds or anything, but sound quality is excellent, so highly recommended. Yeah, and I actually listened to the Monkees, their debut last night, and also Pisces, Aquarius, Capricorn, and Jones Limited. Fantastic. And, on their first album, there's a song by Mike Nesmith called Sweet Young Thing. And that was, recorded in 1965. And it's almost hard rock. It's like a cross between country and hard rock. It's so good. And, there's always the people out there saying, oh, the Monkees, didn't play on their records, blah, blah, blah. But they actually did, especially later on with Headquarters. And as in this interview with Micky Dolenz, they played live in the 60s. Just the 3 of them. The 4 of them, but Davy Jones, he didn't really play an instrument. It was just like a tambourine. But all 4 of them, super talented, great singers. I love the Monkees. So I overall enjoy Billy Corgan's interviews, but the only thing is, especially earlier on, he is getting better. He's getting better all the time. But for instance, this interview with Wolfgang Van Halen, I'll just read you some of the comments and you'll... Oh yeah, Sharon Osbourne too. So these are just some of the comments. Great interview, Wolf. You got Billy to relax and really open up about himself. Great interview of Billy Corgan by Billy Corgan. Cool that Wolf was in the audience. This series should be titled Billy Corgan Forces His Views While an Intriguing Guest Remains Nearly Silent. Wolf is an excellent listener. Thank you, Wolfgang, for having the patience to sit through this interview. This has to be the world record of an interview with the most mid-sentence cutoffs. Wolfgang did a great job getting so much information out of Billy. This will forever be known as the interview that Billy Corgan interviewed himself. They are kind of exaggerating it a bit, I guess. But what I have noticed with some of I haven't watched a lot of them, but I've watched a few. And it is true. It's not just Billy Corgan, but some interviews you watch, Howard Stern comes to mind, and others, some TV talk show hosts. They kind of they either suck up to the guest, or they make it about themselves, right? Instead of the guest. But like I said, Billy Corgan is getting better with his interviews. So I was kind of impressed with his interview with Micky Dolenz. So I've just got this little sample of him interviewing Wolfgang, and you'll see what I mean by he's not focusing on Wolfgang, he's talking about himself, right? Here we go.
I'm in Belgium with my weird solo project. It's all electronic, and I'm acting all weird. And people are screaming at me to play Pumpkin songs. And I said in the press, I'm not going to play Pumpkin songs. And I remember I was in Belgium. It's this weird old venue in Ghent, Ghent. And, sometimes the awkward silence between songs. And I heard a guy with a Belgian accent. Why can't you play Pumpkin? You know what I mean? And I just went in the mic because I don't want to. And that's me. That's people chasing me down with my own music.
So, and then that would happen. I noticed it with Pat Benatar too. He would kind of talk about himself sometimes.
Exciting. And you said, I saw that they were...
So this is the Micky Dolenz interview. And like I said, 95% of it is great. There were, I wish he had asked more about, Davey, Mike, and Peter, what Mickey's thoughts on them as people or whatever. But it was a good interview overall. And this is just a little sample of it.
Reacting off of what they saw on TV. But when you've got 8,000 young people screaming like a jet engine, did that go to your head?
How could it not? I mean, of course, especially by then when I knew it was me.
Okay.
Now this was for real.
Right.
I wasn't faking it. When they were yelling and screaming at the kid on the character on the television screen, sure. That was me as an actor playing the part of a wacky drummer. But when I got...
So, like I said, overall, it was a good interview. And, Billy Corgan is, when he's interviewing these people, he really is a fan, right? Which you can tell. And so, overall, good job, Billy. But like I said...
independent.
Like I said, last night I was watching this with my dinner. And when I started, I was thinking... Please, let this be a good interview. Let Mickey talk. And he did. But it's kind of funny. Just the last 5 minutes or so, Billy had to tell a story about himself. I've sped it up so we can get through it a little quicker, but you'll just see how long he did tell the story. So here we go.
In Hollywood.
So everything up to here was great. Great interview. Way to go, Billy.
Yeah.
Industry.
Can I tell you a related story if you don't mind?
Sure.
So in 1998, we're in the studios Shepperton in England, the famous studios. And we're shooting what became an $800,000 music video.
I tried to get this concept that I had my own. I couldn't find any these guys from England. But I came to 800,000. But we were so big at the time, they greenlit it remarkably. The quick version of the concept was, I think we'd somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 12 sets. So think about like a big U or U. And then we would move through the different sets like this, and the camera would just follow us along. So it was like one set, like vampires there.
That's familiar. That's familiar. Yeah, that's familiar.
There's a picture in my memory, and I think this is before we wrap up. Because you're right about when we walked through that set. But every time you like, I had to walk through that set. Here's my version of it. So, they had this idea, and it was a technique they were using at the time, which was if they sped and slowed up the music, you get like you were moving in slow motion, you get like you were hyperactive. But in order to do it at the time, they had to speed the track up and the camera would go with it, and if it slowed the track down. Well,
And it's really not that interesting a story to take up the time. Like I said, I wish he would have, there's always other questions to ask. You've got Micky Dolenz there. You don't need to spend 5 minutes talking about a music video you made years ago.
we have over 100 extras on set, all in costume. Okay. As you know, like I said, the call time is 8 a.m. for all the extras. By maybe 5 p.m.
And Billy's trying to make it relatable to whatever Mickey was talking about, but it really has nothing to do with the rest of the interview.
The clock's running out. We haven't shot a single take. So the names are going restless, right? And you can see people really nervous, over time. So we did I think we did like a first take. And, you thought we should get these. And I don't think it was going to be one taker. So
Actually, that was one continuous take.
Yes, this is not the first now we're seeing slowing down. So I shot the first take. The people in the stands around the Coliseum were browsing the audio showing pleasure, going on character on screen. But in that, something happened where they reached a point with the camera where I can't remember what it was. I think it was an accident. And it was a test take. The camera operator slowed the camera around and you saw the entire set just for one moment. So we watched the test take. And like, we got 7 more minutes. Now, I see this one time, these tweets, so much test take. So they freaked out the camera operator in some reason. So the camera, you saw the entire set, the train tracks, the crew, the coffee. And they started, no, leave it. So now with the clock running, they're arguing with me. No, you can't have this right before 1 moment in the video.
See, it's supposed to be an interview. You're supposed to be interviewing somebody. Let them talk. Oh, I'm getting mad.
It's like, and I think it's perfect because it shows you complete exercise. So we have time for one more take. Like, okay, by that point, I look at the microphone and I beg this audience, extras, please, we have one more take. Behave yourselves. You're embarrassing yourselves. Just and as a result of the day and the way they treated sandwiches, there were people literally turning their backs to the cameras coming by. Right? So you have to look very carefully before you get the full reveal, which is my favorite one. But you get one moment, and the camera turns around, and we just come back into this continuous sets. There's like a rolling scene, and there's people with their backs to me, and there's people on the cue. As it takes them by. So I turn my back and I'm flipping off the crowd. Like, focus as the
Take's happening, and that's the take.
Oh my God.
You don't
what a
see
great
me do
story.
it. You just see me turn and be like,
Yeah. Great story.
and that's it. That's the take.
Well, we'll be right back with Billy Corgan.
Yeah, kind of almost like I don't think he's being, I think he was just trying to be funny, but we'll be back with Billy Corgan. It's kind of like even Mickey kind of realizes he made it about himself at the end. But I think, like I said, overall, Billy did a great job with the interview.
Well, we'll be right back with Billy Corgan after these words.
The Mickey and Billy show.
Mickey and Billy show.
Thank you, Mickey. That was great.
He couldn't wait to get out of there. But yeah, of course, somebody, any rock musician, rock star like Billy Corgan, they all have egos, big egos. And so it's bound to, be like that. But at least, like I said, from what the few interviews I've watched, he's slowly over time, I hope, getting better and better, and overall doing some really interesting interviews. I really did enjoy the one with Paul Stanley. Like I said, I'm not a Kiss fan, but I find him interesting, and he tells some really good stories. So if you're not familiar with Billy's channel, The Magnificent Others, please check it out. Maybe I'll interview Billy Corgan someday on my channel, and I'll make it all about me. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye. Billy, do you mind if I tell you a story about my YouTube career and then go on for like 20 minutes? Bye.